I'm Emma, sitting in this cozy diner off the interstate, the smell of burnt toast and cheap syrup filling the air, my laptop open but not working. I'm lost in thought. Outside, the sleet is hitting the windows in a soft rhythm, the world outside gray and quiet. It was here, just a few days ago, that I started to truly feel the weight of my newfound freedom. A week ago, I was sitting in my motel room when a text came in. It was Mom at 9:47 p.m. Simply saying, "Please fix this." No hello, no apology. I remember looking at the clock at that exact time and thinking about all the times she'd asked me to fix things before. I remembered the gifts still sitting in my trunk, untouched, the peppermint smell long faded. I've always been the one to fix things in my family. My name is Emma, and I'm a software developer living in San Francisco. My parents live in Seattle, in the old house where I grew up with my little sister, Lily. Mom, Helen, is a very opinionated woman. She's all smiles and warmth in public, but at home, her words can be as sharp as a knife. Dad, George, was a mechanic until an accident left him with chronic pain. After that, he became bitter and withdrawn. He takes his anger out on us, and Mom has learned to manipulate me using guilt. Then there's Lily. She's 25, an art student full of talent and life. She's always been the golden child, but she's not a bad person. She just learned to stay out of Mom's way. She'd often tell me it's easier to just give in to Mom, and for years I did. I moved to San Francisco 5 years ago for a great job opportunity. I thought the distance would change things, but it didn't. The phone calls kept coming. Emma, can you help with the electricity bill? Emma, the car needs repairs. I never said no. I thought it was my duty, my way of showing love. Every Christmas, I drive up to Seattle, my trunk full of gifts and my heart full of hope. I'd tell myself this year would be different, but it never was. There were always the same comments. You look so tired from Mom and must be all that city work from Dad. Lily would whisper, "Don't let it get to you." But it always did. Last December, though, I had high hopes. Lily and I planned to surprise our parents together. I'd bought Dad a new set of mechanic tools, Mom a silk scarf, and Lily a set of high-quality art supplies. My car smelled like pine and new leather. I even wore the goofy red sweater Lily had given me, with the embroidered snowflakes on the sleeves. I parked outside the house, the snow piling up on my windshield. I was just about to get out when I got the text. "Stay away from Christmas, you useless failure." I stared at it, thinking it was a mistake, but deep down I knew it wasn't. It was like a punch in the gut, but this time I didn't crumble. I didn't text back. I just put the car in reverse and drove away. I ended up at a cheap motel just across the state line. The fluorescent lights were buzzing, the heater was wheezing, and I sat there with my phone face down. I realized I'd spent my whole adult life being useful, but not being loved. The next morning, I made that cardboard-tasting coffee in the motel lobby and opened my laptop. As I logged in, I saw all the auto-pay accounts linked to my parents' bills. It hit me like a ton of bricks. Half of my digital life was dedicated to people who saw me as nothing more than a bank account. I called the bank and calmly asked to remove myself from those linked accounts. The woman on the other end asked if I was sure, and I said, "Completely." When it was done, I felt a strange sense of peace. No guilt, no panic, just silence. Over the next few days, I started getting notifications. The heating payment failed, the internet service was suspended, and the car insurance lapsed. Each alert was like a small victory. I hadn't done anything wrong. I just stepped back, and the system they'd built on my back collapsed. Lily texted me, sending a photo of the dark, undecorated living room. She canceled Christmas and said it's your fault, she wrote. I was sad, but I knew I couldn't go back to fixing things. Then came the calls and voicemails. At first, they were angry, then scared. By the end, Mom's voice was small, pleading, "Please, Emma, we don't know what to do." I didn't listen to the rest. I just hit delete. In mid-January, Lily called, sounding worried. "Mom's been forgetting things, and Dad keeps saying she's sick. They're fighting all the time." I told her to keep her distance. A few days later, I got a call from my Aunt Grace. She's a tough but fair woman. She said, "Emma, We need to talk. There's something you should know. We met at a diner that smelled of bleach and old coffee. She slid a thick manila folder across the table and said, "I've been keeping these for a long time." Inside were copies of checks I'd written to help with bills, but some had been cashed by someone else. The signatures were all in Dad's awkward, slanted handwriting. "He's been moving money between accounts, using your mother's name, telling her you stopped helping years ago," she said. I was in shock. I didn't realize I was shaking until Aunt Grace reached across the table and held my hand. She said she was going to confront them and that I should know what was coming. A few days later, Aunt Grace called and said, "It's done.
He's gone."
Your mother knows everything." She also said Mom wanted to talk to me. I thought about the text, "Stay away from Christmas, you useless failure." I knew she believed it when she sent it. I told Aunt Grace, "Tell her I wish her well, but I'm not coming back." She sighed and said Mom was trying, but I knew trying couldn't undo years of neglect. Lily texted me later, saying Mom was a mess and kept saying my name. I thought about replying, but in the end, I just opened the motel window, let the cold air in, and whispered, "You built this, not me." A week later, the calls stopped. I rented a small apartment in San Francisco. It has creaky floors and sunlight that spills across the living room in the morning. I've started running again, picked up new clients, and filled my place with plants. When people ask about my family, I just say we're distant. The other day, as the sky turned orange and pink, I pulled out the red sweater from the back of my closet. I folded it neatly and laid it on the balcony railing. The wind took it, and it drifted down, the snowflakes on it glistening in the fading light. That was my last goodbye. People think revenge has to be loud and dramatic, but mine was silent. It was the peace I found in walking away.
I don't hate my family.
I just don't want to be a part of their chaos anymore. Now, when the holidays come around, I light a candle, make hot cocoa, and let the quiet fill my apartment. That text from Mom, "Stay away from Christmas," was the best gift she ever gave me. It was the push I needed to start living for myself. If you've ever had to draw a line with the people you love, leave a comment and tell me where you're listening from. It helps to know I'm not alone. Hit like, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you don't miss the next story. Because sometimes the only way to rebuild your life is to stop fixing everyone else's.